So, back when I was in college, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, back when Fishtown was cheap and Northern Liberties was a landscape of ruins straight out of David Lynch's Eraserhead, one of my closest friends was a guy named Philip. And Philip came from Russia, although I met him while studying in Japan. And Philip was something of a character, a very loud and boisterous guy who taught me that only about half of the stereotypes for Russians are true. For one, he did not drink vodka. He did not drink at all, although you would never have guessed that if you had met him because he acted belligerently drunk all the time. If you've ever seen those terrifying YouTube videos of crazy Russian kids that climb skyscrapers and use construction cranes as jungle gyms, that would be him. But he was one of the most genuine and sincere and affable people I've ever known. And in my senior year of college, he transferred from Temple, Japan to the main campus here in Philadelphia, where he moved in with my friend Milo. Now, Milo came from Erie, Pennsylvania. He was the son of a pig farmer, and he eventually got his master's from Wharton School of Business, which turned him into an asshole because that's what that school does. But, right, well, we all know that Wharton guy, but back then, it was his responsibility to find a place for the two of them to live, and because he was really cheap, in order to save money, he rented a house at 20th and Erie in North Philadelphia, which is not the best area of town. It's actually the worst. But I don't want to make offensive, sweeping generalizations. There are families that live there. There are good people that live there. But when I drove around at night, I felt like I was on the set of Escape from New York. And I remember looking for parking one night, and I just came across an abandoned car on cinder blocks that was on fire. There was no one on the streets, there was no fire engines, no sirens in the distance, just a random burning car. And during the summer months, you were more likely to hear gunfire in the early evening than an ice cream truck. Mr. Softy, don't drive around 20th and Erie. But maybe you're still thinking I sound like an asshole. It's not that bad. I must be exaggerating. It's not like anyone got shot, right? Right? Well, one day Milo gives me a call and he asks me if I've seen Philip recently. He hadn't been home for a couple days and he was worried. And I told Milo, he's a crazy Russian. He probably went up to New York and is on some wacky adventure. I'm sure he's fine. The next day Milo calls me and tells me that he's on his way to Temple Hospital and I need to come with him. It's an emergency. Something happened. In the newspaper that day, there was a short article about a Russian international student who had been shot and was in critical condition at the hospital, and they were looking for help identifying him. And I thought it was coincidental, but there's no way this is my Philip. But it was Philip, and it was bad. The paper left out that he had been shot 5 times. One bullet clipped off a chunk of his right ear, a bullet went clean through his right shoulder, another hit his calf, one scraped his side, one went in through his lower back, grazed his spinal cord before lodging in his heart. And so when we go there, it was really traumatizing to see him laid out on that hospital bed with tubes going in everywhere. And we went and notified, I think it was the hardest I ever cried, but we notified the school, which notified his family, and we got word that his mother was flying in the next day to stay at that house, that awful house at 20th and Erie. And I'll tell you, me and Milo had to clean and prepare his room, and it's a really surreal experience to go through someone's personal belongings while they're at death's front door, making sure that you throw away all of their porn so that their mom doesn't have to find it after he dies. And we went to the hospital next day expecting the worst, prepared to say our final goodbye, and we're walking down the hallway and we hear laughter, boisterous laughter, an unmistakable laughter. It was Philip's laughter. We get to the room and he's sitting up telling the nurse jokes while eating a peach with this giant shit-eating grin on his face. And Milo and I are overjoyed that not only is he alive, but he's doing well. So of course the first thing we ask is, dude, what the actual fuck? And I'll never forget a single word that came out of Philip's mouth. And this is his story. So I was riding my bicycle home from school, and these children, they stopped me on the street, and they tell me to give them my bicycle. And I say, no, why I give you my bicycle? It is mine, no? And so they tell me they will fuck me up if I do not give them my bicycle. And I tell them that they should go home and do their homework. So they tell me that they will shoot me, and they pull out guns. And I say, oh, if you want my bicycle so bad, fight me and you win. You can have bicycle. But they keep saying, no, they will fucking shoot me. So I laugh and say, that's the problem with you. You have no courage, no focus, no organization. If Russian mafia come here, we wipe you out. So I got back on my bicycle and I ride away and they start shooting. They shoot a lot. They hit me a couple times. I don't know how many. So I ride my bicycle to the hospital and now here I am. Like an episode of The Sopranos, right? So Philip and I are horrified by his story. But as far as he was concerned, this was the greatest fucking thing that ever happened to him. He was a member of this weird Russian, Japanese, Shintoist cult. I think it was called the Sogakukai or something. And the supreme leader flew out to talk to him. And the real clincher is the last thing he said. He said, you know, I come from Russia. And I would like to go back, maybe get into politics in the motherland. And now I can say that my strong Russian heart stops American bullet. Milo moved out of that house, but Philip, he stayed. That crazy fucking Russian stayed. And how badass is it that he can say, I come from Russia, my heart stops bullets. I mean, I know I'm cheating with this story because all I can say is, I come from Delco. I got a worthless film degree from Temple University. Thank you.